Hello and welcome to episode 17 of the Clutch Report. It's been a long time since we last recorded, my friend Karak. We had previewed the Ashes before, but a lot has happened since then. I think we've had three Premier League game weeks. We've had Virat Kohli score 200s. We've had Australia take a 2-0 lead in the Ashes. But before I ask you how you're doing, there's only one place to start. What's going on with Mohammad Salah?
Good afternoon, Shiv. Like you mentioned before, it's been a long time. So much has happened, and obviously we talk about Mo Salah, about that interview. Already shared my views yesterday, but again, it's sad that champions of last season obviously not performing to their fullest this season, and then Salah, one of the best players in the Premier League, ever to play in the league, also coming out and saying stuff about the manager and about the club. Obviously, like I said before, I'm not a fan of players coming out to the media, coming out to the media and being like, "Hey, listen, I'm not happy with what's going on, and I've been put under the bus." But we're talking about Mo Salah here, and if the players were selected instead of Salah were performing really, really well, and if the tactics were working, fair enough, Slot. I think you have every right to make that decision. But what seems to just bother me is that if you look at the Leeds game, we were 3-2 up. He removes Ekitike, he gets on Endo, and he gets on Isak. Now, my question here is, why not Salah? They're going to be playing a high line. They're going to be they're going to be going for the draw. Who else but Salah? Salah can hold the ball really well. Salah can play that high line really well. And Salah can attract defenders on the left side. Slot's reasoning didn't make sense to me that he bought Endo, but he also brought in Isak. That's number one. Number two, Gakpo. Gakpo has played 15 out of the 17 Premier League games or 14 out of the 16 Premier League games. Does he warrant to start every game? I don't think so. I don't think you also think so. So there's just a lot of variables with respect to the Liverpool squad at the moment. I think Salah also is not in great form. I think majority of the team is not in great form. Yes, he could have done this a lot better, but when he did it and how he did it, and it's already been done now. So it's up to Liverpool and Slot to figure out, because you need him in the team. Whatever said and done, we are short staffed in that attacking front at the moment, and we need Salah back in that squad. Now, if you look at what Slot said, obviously he's not going to be traveling to Inter because it's the obvious decision, because obviously he's said something where it's affected Slot, obviously, right? But then I also like what Allison said. Allison also mentioned that he shouldn't have done it, but I'll have a conversation with him privately, and I'll see to that he can come back into the squad. So I don't know if if that's going to be the last game of Salah in a Liverpool jersey, which was against Sunderland. I'm just hoping he comes back to the squad, Shiv. He's my Egyptian king. I love him to bits. I think he's done so much for the club. And I understand where he's coming from, I genuinely do. You've just benched him for 3 games. He's anyway going to AFCON. Benching him, not playing him, benching him, putting him on. These are two different things. So I don't understand what the hell is going on.
Do you think it's a bit over the top in the sense that he was benched for 3 games and then for him to come out and make these comments? Like, I feel like you should be having this conversation with the manager behind closed doors. I know he mentioned in his interview that I don't have a relationship anymore, which was, I thought, one of the biggest bombshells of the interview. But just to play devil's advocate here, I mean, did you feel like to come out in the media zone or the mix zone, as they call it, which he's only done 3 times, I think, in his career. Was that the right way to go about things?
Again, see, okay, like to each their own, right? For me, again, I don't think a player should come out and speak about what's going on in the dressing room or what's going on with the manager. But I think it's more Salah we're talking about. And he's done it twice. I think one was with his contract, which didn't affect anybody. He was just talking strictly based on, hey, listen, I'm scoring the goals, I'm getting the assists, where's my contract? And then that's fair. But then with respect to this, I just feel like he could have obviously taken a better step, but that's the beauty of sport, right, Shiv? Think about it. You're the best player in your team and you're on the bench sitting for 3 games. You don't even know why. Because basis on that interview, Salah doesn't know why he's on the bench, right? And
I
then,
mean that seems a bit. I'm sure he himself knows his form has not been that good this season. Slot has been chopping and changing your forward line quite a bit. Just because you haven't started 3 games, of course, maybe he deserves an explanation as to why at least he wasn't brought on, or maybe in some games had more of an impact. But I'm sure deep down he knows his performances haven't been up to standard. And of course, across your front line, that's probably been the case. Maybe Isak has also had a lot of issues. Ekitike has been, of course, your standout player. But it felt a bit premature. Like, try and have that conversation with Slot first.
No, see again, Shiv, I agree with you. I agree with you that it's only because it's Salah. Like I just have a little bit of bias there because I feel like however bad of a rut he's in, I think he always comes back and he's always showed it. Like when we had more defenders, Salah again showed up there. And last season, Salah single-handedly, without him, we'll be 15th in the Premier League. So it's just that you got to trust your instincts. And these are the things with like these Dutch managers, man. Like, I don't think they're able to handle egos like Salah. If you look at Eric Ten Hag, he couldn't handle Ronaldo. And if you look at Louis Van Gaal also, he also had issues with certain players, right? So again, it boils down to managing egos. And I just felt like Salah at that time just wanted to vent. He obviously took the wrong step, but what he said just says a lot about what the hell is going on in that Liverpool dressing room, right? Because it generally feels like Slot has lost the dressing room.
Yeah. I want to dissect some of the things he said. Starting with, I mean, if I was in that camp and he said something like, I have earned my right to start regardless. Kind of not exactly those words, but based on how I performed last year and over the past 6, 7 seasons or whatever, however long he's been there, he kind of said that he has the automatic right to start, which I kind of disagreed with. No matter who you are, if you're running through a bad run of form, everybody deserves to be, I mean, sometime on the bench in that sense. Did you agree with that? That regardless of his form, he's earned his right to start every game.
See, again, like I think you said this beforehand. You said that, okay, fine. If you're on the bench, if Salah's on the bench, I put him on. I'd put him on 100% every game. That's me. Because that's Salah. Like, if I'm losing or if I'm winning, if I need to get more goals, Salah's coming on in the 60th minute every game for me. But
Even
I
in the
think
West
Salah,
Ham game, you would say if you're winning 2-0, trying to protect a
I
two-goal
would,
lead.
I would, I would just put him in just to give him that confidence. Because, come on, he's your man. Like, he's your talisman at that moment because Isak's not performing. Ekitike is the only person performing in the front four. So you need your forwards, you need your strikers to at least get some sort of confidence, right? And according to me, these were the games where you could get your Salah, your Isak in form, you know? And obviously he didn't play Salah. And with what you're saying, again, like, it just sounds like Salah has just been a little kiddish with respect to how he's handled this. I agree with you. No player deserves the right to start automatically, except Allison and Van Dijk, according to me, because they are like very, very important to the team. But again, like, he's been there for 8 years and he's been scoring 20 plus goals every year. So I just feel like the media have just made him the scapegoat for the season because, just because Salah's not performing, the entire team's not performing. But everyone's only talking about Salah. There's no one's talking about Konate. No one's talking about Van Dijk. No one's talking about Gakpo. No one's talking about Gravenberg. No one's talking about McAllister. It's only Salah. And that's my issue here, right? And again, if you go look at Carragher's interview, there is absolutely nothing about the team. It is only Salah. So I genuinely feel like he's made the scapegoat in this entire Liverpool form of run, and that's affected him. That just
Yeah.
it just shows on his face.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a leader, I guess, in your dressing room for the past 6, 7 years. I think other players have received, like you yourself have criticized Konate quite a bit. Virgil has been trolled quite a bit this season for some of his performances. Maybe not, of course, the Liverpool fan base are very strongly behind Van Dijk. Konate is a different sort of kettle of fish. But I don't know. What is the general consensus among the fan base from what you've seen? Like, do you think it's divided the fan base? Are people leaning towards Slot, towards Salah? What's the word in the fan base?
See, I think in the fan base, I think there are two sides to it. One's like, hey, listen, Salah, you need to grow up. We're talking about a football team here. It's a team sport where if you're not playing, you're not playing. You can't come into the media and be like, hey, listen, I've lost the club has put me out of the bus and all that nonsense. And the other side is kind of like me, where we're like, hey, listen, I think Slot needs to get the hell out of the club. I think he's lost the dressing room. And what Salah's trying to do is he's trying to make the fans forget about the 3-all draw against Leeds, which is, according to me, a horrendous bloody result for us. We'll get to that later. And he's trying to put everything on him so that we don't talk about the results we've had so far. And that's working. If you look at it, no one's talking about Liverpool anymore. We're talking about Salah versus Liverpool and Slot. which is working in fairness.
But he's
Yeah,
brought that upon himself in a sense by doing this. So
but again, like if I'm a very positive fan, so I'm looking at it from a perspective that hey, listen, Salah is doing this so that people don't talk about the club, people don't talk about what's going on behind the scenes. They just talk about him and they forget about the results, which obviously is not the case. I think Salah is a professional and he wants to play every game, and yeah, those are the two sides, man. Shiv, it's just such a weird place to be in. I could also ask you that question, from a United perspective. You're obviously an outsider with respect to what's going on in this entire fiasco. What are your thoughts? And who do you think would come out winning? Because at this moment it kind of looks like a Slot versus Salah battle and not like a Liverpool versus Salah battle.
I mean, unfortunately for the Salah fans and I guess for Liverpool fans, it seems like Slot is the one who's coming out on top because he's dropped him for the Inter game. I think the board has sort of backed that decision also. I mean, as a United fan, going back to, like you said, Eric Ten Hag and Ronaldo had I won't say similar situation. Ronaldo was a little bit more immature in that sense because he would walk off from the bench and just leave. And then to come out and do an interview with Piers Morgan in any in any setting is never good for your club. So I think it's slightly different, but I do think Salah could have definitely handled this better. I think you first try to have a conversation with your manager. Of course, he said the relationship has broken down, but Slot kind of said that that hasn't happened. He doesn't see it from that perspective. So clearly, there's some sort of breakdown in communication, or at least Salah could maybe talk to Van Dijk, who's the leader in the dressing room, find a way to fix things first behind closed doors. This, I know you may not agree, but this kind of felt a little bit orchestrated. Like he wanted the fans to. I know you said you're a positive fan and you don't believe those are his intentions, but a certain part of me feels like he was trying to make the fans pick a side, like it's Slot or me. Maybe I'm wrong, and I feel like Slot having won the Premier League last year, I feel like he does have the backing of the owners. And last year, the owners were also like struggling to extend Salah's contract, but he had such a good season that they had no option. And now this just seems like an easy option for them to get rid of him in January. And the fact that he said he's going to call his family to the Brighton game, I think the writing's on the wall. And I personally think, I don't know if he gets a few minutes where Slot will sort of be sympathetic, depends on the situation in the game. But I think Salah's played his last game for Liverpool.
Yeah, I think I'm of the same opinion, but I think Ornstein also reported that it's not the end of the road for Salah, and I think at this moment they're just like taking a break with Salah, and he comes back from AFCON and things will be better. But I think coming back to Slot again, I think it's been a horrendous season. Brendan Rodgers was sacked for losing lesser games than what he's been doing right now. I understand that he's won the Premier League, but then he's also signed a lot of players. He's also signed
Yeah.
players worth 120 million, 100 million, 120 and 130 million. Again, and if you're watching Liverpool play, you just know that it just doesn't look good. It just looks
Yeah.
like Slot has no bloody idea of what to do and how to even get a win, right? And that's the issue at hand. And no one's even talking about Slot at the moment because everyone's talking about Salah. Everyone's busy talking about Salah. But I think Slot just needs to take ownership at this moment and come out and be like, hey, listen, I'm sorry that results haven't been going our way. And he can't come in and say stuff like, hey, we tried,
Hmm.
we tried to score, but we didn't score. Those are not the things I want to hear from a manager, right? And he's been very, very dismal when it comes to just being in the media. He's saying all sorts of nonsense, which, according to me, I'm Slot out. I've told you this before because I just don't see us going back. I just don't see us finishing top four also this season, Shiv. And that's a huge cause of concern because, that has domino effect of the revenue from the Champions League and just the squad. Who'll want to come to Liverpool again? And that's the most important question there.
Yeah. I mean, if Slot happens to get sacked, that next manager will still inherit a pretty good squad. Slot hasn't
Absolutely.
made it work with Wirtz and Isak. And let's just go and delve into that Leeds and that Sunderland game. I know you beat West Ham as well, but the Leeds and Sunderland, especially the Leeds game, you're 2-0 up, pretty much in control, creating chances. What went wrong there?
You're 2-0 up. You have Szoboszlai playing right wing, right, from the entire game. Szoboszlai ran his ass off in that Leeds game. You remove Ekitike and you remove Gakpo. You get in Isak, and then you get in Endo. So Endo plays in the middle. but you forget to remove or you forget to change the formation of one of your players where you can put him in the center and get a full out and out right winger, which makes your life easier, right? And that's what I'm trying to tell you. We removed words too. So my question here is, why not move Saboslai into the middle? He got in McAllister, who was playing up front for a middle for like 10-15 minutes. Why not just move Saboslai in the middle, remove Gakpo, get in Salah instead of Isak, and keep Ekitike, because Ekitike was killing it. Ekitike was the only person holding the ball. Ekitike was coming to the middle to like fend off defenders and pass and create the play. And obviously, like, credit to Leeds, they've understood that any free kick against us looks like a penalty at the moment, because, we've just been conceding free kicks like left, right, and center. You just put a ball to the far post when there's no Van Dijk, boom, no one's going to head the ball in. And let's talk about Konate for a minute. Like, what the hell is he thinking? Is he diving into a swimming pool there? He's just, like, let's be honest here. Gnotto had no bloody way to cross that ball. The ball's gone. He's dived in like it's a swimming pool. He's just dived in like this.
Hospital tackle.
What? And he has the audacity to say, I didn't touch him. Like, come on, we have VAR here, my friend. Like,
Yeah.
And just, we were cruising when it was 2-0 down. We were 2-0 up, sorry. We conceded that penalty. You could just see our body language change. In that instant, body language changed. The second goal, Gravenberch, our CDM, who's been a 4 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 throughout the season, and no one talks about him, forgets to mark the run of Stash, and Stash just cuts in right and hits a beautiful goal. And again, now, if we need a CDM right now, right? We need a CDM who can track runs. We don't need a CDM only to break lines, only to pass the ball, only to dribble through the press, right? We need someone who can bloody defend. And Gravenberch is not of what he was last season, and no one talks about it.
Yeah.
But these are the small things I'd like to talk about. But again, then 2-2, and then we did very well to score that beautiful goal. Great dummy from McAllister, and Szoboszlai scored. And then he makes those changes, put Szoboszlai in the middle, get in Salah, hoof the ball up to Salah. Salah's going to control it. You're always on a 2-on-1, 3-on-1 situation. Instead, you have Szoboszlai running his ass off the entire game. Szoboszlai after that didn't even move across the half line on the right hand side. So that's what I'm telling you, right? We've gone up 3-2. Game management is important, but again, the Leeds were just on it, and it looked like Leeds were going to score immediately.
Yeah, it's also that change in mentality for Liverpool, right? From last season, like if you're 2-0 up, you're going for a third, fourth, fifth. You're trying to just dominate the game throughout. Here, 2-0 up, if he's bringing on Endo, he's scared. He's just trying to protect that lead, which is not sort of the Liverpool way of last season, at least. And when most of your defense, I'm going to put Van Dijk in this. I know you like to protect him, but Van Dijk has been in poor form. Konate has been in poor form. Like you said, Gravenberch has been in poor form. Isak is not. So like the entire spine of your team is struggling. So I sort of get it why he's bringing Endo on, but when you're 2-0 up, you guys were flying in that moment. Like you guys were also creating chances. Go for the third, go for the fourth, kill the game off, right?
Yeah, man. Again, I've just, I've lost for words here, Shiv, because, he finally realized that there's someone called Endo on the bench, because he hasn't even played him in a very long time. I think his assistant manager would have been like, yeah, Endo's there, why don't you use him? See, these are the things, right? You need to use your squad, it's a long season. And I just feel like Slot doesn't use his squad. And I've told you this before also in our first 3 episodes, where I just feel like Slot is not pragmatic as much with his squad. Like, for example, we know Konate has been poor for how long? 6 weeks? 8 weeks? 10 weeks? He has started every bloody game, Shiv. Now,
what is Joe Gomez thinking?
Exactly, and when there's when the situation at the right back, you're playing Szoboszlai, so you're not playing Gomez, and then fans are going hysterical on Twitter, on social media. Then against West Ham, miraculously, who comes in? Joe Gomez plays right back, puts in a great performance. Like, these are the things I just feel like, why should we voice our opinion out when it's so obvious that, Slot has to make these changes? Play Gomez at centre back. Try. Konate looks like he doesn't know how to play football. Like, let's be honest here, Shiv.
That Madrid move is gone. I don't think they're going for him anymore.
Madrid. You're talking about Madrid, brother. I think I-League. I'm talking I-League, sir. I'm talking the Hyundai A-League. I'm not talking about the Europe leagues anymore, sir. Konate, dude, it's, if I'm a striker, right, all I'm going to do is, we play a high line, I'm just going to stick myself up to Konate because I know he's going to pull me down. I know he's gonna pull me down every time. Every time. Also, we can go back to the Sunderland game. Let's give our flowers to Federico Chiesa. What a bloody block in the goal line. If not for that block, sir, Slot would have been out. Slot would have
Yeah.
been long gone.
I think Van Dijk should take lessons from Chiesa and not stick his ass out and keep doing tumkas again and again. Bro, what's going on with the tumka, bro? He just loves it. It's his favorite dance move.
Listen, that Sunderland goal also bad decision by Virgil van Dijk. And again, that's a goal out of nothing. I
Yeah.
feel like the Sunderland game, we did decently, but they didn't have clear cut chances. You know what I'm talking about? They just
They
had one or two.
created, they were there, but
They
you
were there,
still,
but not like
yeah.
us. We had chances where felt like we could have scored, felt like we could have done a little bit more. And I thought Salah, when he came on, was excellent. Salah dragged the entire, he just got width into the game, which Sabostay can never do, right? And Sabostay has been our best player. So Sabostay in the middle is what I like. But when Salah came on against Sunderland, I saw, okay, listen, I think I see Salah playing against Leeds. And then he doesn't play him against Leeds. He starts Gakpo again. So again, dude, it's just a sad state of affairs at the moment. And we can also dive into what Carragher said if you'd like. What are your thoughts on what Carragher said yesterday?
I mean, we knew it was going to happen. He loves his little Monday night football. And I think Salah literally teed him up saying Carragher is going to say some nonsense. But yeah, some of his comments were just, they make comments for clickbait. They make comments for Twitter to get like impressions on Twitter, impressions on YouTube. Like to say like Salah was nothing before he came to Liverpool and stuff like that. Like, come on, man. He's been your best player for 6, 7, 8 seasons. Who knows what it is? But like, I thought some of that was just cheap. Of course, you have a point of view about how he was unprofessional and all that. Yeah, that's all fair. That's all fair game. But the sly digs, and then he's like, I've never made a comment about Salah's performances. Of course you have. I'm sure people will dig and will find plenty of clips. In the moment, of course, you can't think of it, but there are probably plenty of clips, especially last season when the contract stuff was going on. I'm sure there are plenty of times he's criticized Salah. And then he made that comment about how he should be a leader and pass to words and all that in that moment, or like in the Frankfurt game and the PSV game. Like, I mean, he himself is struggling for confidence right now. So why will he do that? He himself wants to get a goal. So yeah, some of it was just a bit childish, and I could see it was clearly done for clicks. What did you make of it, though?
I just don't think Carragher should be allowed anywhere near Anfield because it just looked like he hates Salah. It almost felt like he might, if the clip would have gone on for more than 15 minutes, he'd have called him an illegal immigrant. It looked like that. It just felt
Jesus.
like it came out of pure hatred. He's talking about for the last 8 years, Trent was suffering because of Salah. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You're telling me your right back has been suffering for the last 8 years just because Salah is there. Boss, if Salah wasn't there, forget what we have won. Let's be honest
Yeah,
here. Then he talks
100%.
about the AFCON, which has my mind blown. 8 months back, he comes out and says AFCON is not a big tournament. But just to make his point now, AFCON suddenly becomes a big tournament.
Yeah, yeah. And
And
Egypt
then
and Salah has never won the AFCON.
so if Salah's ever won the AFCON, any English player after 1966 is a dud.
Yeah.
Because I'm just saying, what, like, see, some of his points, okay, I understand. Some of his points were like, he is obviously the best player in the world, and he's obviously the best player for Liverpool, top 5. He should have presented himself a lot better. He should have not done this. It was a little premature from Salah, I agree. But some of the other points which he made just didn't make sense to me, Shiv. Is he a
Yeah.
Liverpool fan? Or is he just someone who's paid off by someone to talk about Salah? I just don't
Yeah,
know
and to
that.
get clicks, man. I just feel like a lot of these pundits nowadays, the same thing with Gary Neville and like Roy Keane, you just see them talk on the overlap and they're so against United. And in an age of social media, all these players are watching this stuff. Like, I know it's your job to give your opinion, but like it can come with some sort of class and decency, right? So even with Carragher, I still think is relatively better than Roy Keane. And I know you'll think differently because you're a Liverpool fan, but this it's just for clicks. They say anything, and like United and Liverpool will always be like the clubs which will get you those clips and those clicks, right? On Twitter or on Instagram or whatever it is. So these guys will just consistently do it in all their podcasts.
Though bad, Completely agree with you. And I'm just shocked, Shiv. Like, I watched the video yesterday at 3 a.m. in the morning and I was like, my mind, my head was fuming. I wanted to throw my phone because as a Liverpool fan, right? As a Liverpool player playing 720 games, how do you talk about another player who plays for Liverpool, who has done so much for Liverpool
Yeah,
in that way? It's just sad, right? Like, and Mo Salah, whatever said and done, he literally knew what was going to happen. He
yeah,
called it saying Carragher will say whatever he wants to say. For how long has this been happening? At least for 2 years. Last year, he compared Cole Palmer and Salah, and he mentioned that Cole Palmer is the best player in the Premier League, whereas Salah was banking in goals left, right, and center, sending in assists left, right, and center. But no, Cole Palmer was still the best player for him. Cole Palmer didn't do anything for 5 months. Cole Palmer is still the best player for him. If you
yeah.
hate someone, accept it, but don't ask him questions, right? I blame Sky also here. Why is Sky going back to Carragher? Obviously, like you mentioned, for clicks. This will this is obviously like, gonna be one of the most tuned in episodes
Hmm.
for like Sky. But think about Salah, man. He's the king, he's the Egyptian king. 6 months back, he was sitting right in the center of Anfield in a throne saying, I'm staying. Like, we're talking about a legend here. It's just sad, man. Like, I might tear up after this, but it's just sad.
But does it leave like I know the Trent situation was different last year, and of course Trent. I don't know whether you guys consider him a Liverpool legend or whatnot. Do you see any similarities between the Trent and the Salah incidents? And do you think the legacies have been impacted as much, or Salah's legacy will, forever be golden?
Good question. I see again with Trent. Uh, he left, yes, but he's still a Liverpool legend. He's been there in the club since a baby. Still a Liverpool legend, but he could have done better by staying with Liverpool because he's a born-bred Scouser. And if you're a Scouser, what is your goal? Your goal is to lead the team, and I thought that would be his goal. But again, he moved to Real Madrid, and he'll always be a legend in my eyes. I think he's a phenomenal player. Tough luck, he's been poor with Madrid with his injuries. And with Salah, after this, see, like you mentioned before, Shiv, you don't see a way back into this team. I hope to see a way back for him, but I also don't see a way back for him in this team. If this is how he's going to leave, there's obviously like a point zero 0.01 hit in his legacy. But after 5-10 years, we'll understand what a
Yeah.
machine he was for us. And I know for a fact that in that Brighton game, which is going to happen in the weekend, the Liverpool fans are going to be singing Mo Salah running down the
Hmm.
wing. And
Yeah.
bro, I'm gonna be having goosebumps all around my body. And I'm hoping it doesn't end like this, but unfortunately it looks like it's going to end like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's a sad way. I mean, I remember when Ronaldo also left and he didn't really get a send off. I don't think his legacy is, of course, golden at United, but yeah, like you said, that 0.1% of it did get a bit tarnished. And I know some fans are still a bit like, sketchy about the way it's okay. I mean, it's all in the past. Ten Hag was a shit manager at the end of it. So, I mean, there's some sympathy there. But moving on from Liverpool to the league leaders, I think. Mr. Unai Emery will be going to Arteta and saying, "Good evening."
Shiv, I must say, Shiv, thank you for making me laugh. I was obviously like, it was such an emotional topic. And, that good evening has changed my mind. Now we can talk about football again.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, yeah.
No, but great result for Villa. Villa seems to be a team that just gets the better of Arsenal somehow every season. It's like a bogey team for Arsenal. And just to win it in that 96 last kick of the game, essentially, absolute pinball going on in the box. And then Buendia finished it off. But what did you make of that game?
Let's talk about Villa. We were talking about Villa, like, in the sixth game week, saying that where's Watkins? Where's
Hmm.
Marlin? Where's Rogers? They're slowly, steadily gone on a 7-game unbeaten run, lost to Liverpool
Yeah.
in the middle. They're 5 unbeaten now, third in the table. I think a point below City, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. And they
Oh,
for the first four or
oh,
five games, they hadn't scored a goal.
exactly a point below City and cruising. And what a game! They played to their strengths. Finally, Martinez came back, so that was a good plus for them. But they played really well. I thought Watkins
Yeah.
was sharp. Should have had a goal in the first half. Missed an absolute sitter. very dominant in the first half, and I thought Arsenal were slightly dominant in the second half. I thought they should have taken their chances, but the result, what a goal in the end, Buendia,
Yeah.
and just the reactions. You keep talking about Van Dijk's Tumka. You're not talking about Raya's Mehboob mere, Mehboob mere.
Yeah, we got all the Bollywood dance moves this weekend.
Oh my God. Have you seen the memes, Shiv? It is incredible. Like, obviously I laughed a little bit for Van Dijk. Obviously he's Van Dijk. But then when I see the memes for these Arsenal guys, dude, listen,
Yeah,
I've
even
laughed.
Odegaard, I saw doing the quick step to the right, quick step to the left.
A lot of Arsenal fans also are talking about Odegaard not putting in his 100% in challenges, and that also seems to be like from his injury problems he's had, because he's
Mhm.
obviously the captain of the Arsenal team, and he's had a fair share of his injuries. But again, the table just seems to be opening up, and that Aston Villa victory against Arsenal, I think I enjoyed that victory and enjoyed Emery's
Yeah. I think
celebration.
the whole league
And
enjoyed it, Somebody had to curb that arrogance for some time.
tell me about it. I've seen tweets where they're like, Unai Emery always does his homework against Arsenal. What do you expect him to do? Do you expect him to like watch
Yeah.
Netflix?
Yeah.
But
And of course, he has that personal agenda also, right, against Arsenal. So,
another question for you, Shiv. Obviously with Merino playing centre forward and Gyökeres back, what are your thoughts on that? Obviously, like, he's a 60 million signing for Arsenal, and kind of looks like he's not able to get a run in properly, huh?
no, but if he plays football, his hair gets messed up, right? So he likes to keep him on the bench. But Merino has scored a few goals off late, so I think Arteta's just running on that form. But yeah, leaving a 60 million pound striker on the bench, nobody seems to question that because they're winning, of course, most of the time. But if they go on a run of some bad form and Gyökeres on the bench, then you could see some questions being asked. But again, I honestly just, all jokes aside, I think this is just a small blip for Arsenal. Even in the second half, like you said, they did create a lot. Of course, the ball didn't go into the net. But I thought overall, Villa did enough to at least get a draw. They managed to get the win in the end. So just a very entertaining game. And it's probably City are looking at that and saying, okay, there is a chance. I don't think any other team is really going to contend, but I think City are looking at that and they're quietly going about their business, getting victories, comfortable victories against some of the other teams where no one is talking about them. And I don't know what the point gap is now. Is it 4 points, 3 points?
It's only It's only 4 points. Not
Four
bad.
points.
No, it's actually 2 points. It's 2 points. Wow.
Yeah, so they are literally right there in touching distance, and this is a team that that's not really playing at its potential, but they're right there behind Arsenal. So I don't think Arteta will be sleeping easy.
Nah, coming from a Liverpool fan here, a 2 point lead against City in December is nothing, sir. They'll go
Yeah.
on a 6 month run where they won't lose a single game. And Arsenal also might win every game, and then suddenly Arsenal lose a game and City is just back on. City is on
Yeah,
top randomly. Also, what Pep also mentioned this. I know how to win championships. I know
and
how
he
to win
does,
Premier
man.
League. And he does, we know it. Also, a little thing about City, finally, the Haaland train is halting, but
Mm.
the Foden train is on its way, huh?
Choo choo.
Foden has been sensational. Last 5 games, he's back. He's back to his best. He's scoring with his left leg. Scored a beautiful winner against Leeds. Scored against Sunderland with that beautiful header.
Yeah,
And listen, let's talk about Mamma Mia, Cherky's bloody Rabona.
too
Brother,
good,
is he
man.
playing? Is he playing at Game Changer in Bangalore? Listen, he's playing in the Premier League, brother.
Yeah.
What is that Rabona? What, dude? Foden scored that goal, and Foden was like, it
It's the
was
flair,
just
no. It's just the flair that we've been missing. And right, I mean, I don't think he started a lot of games, but when he comes on, he has that spark and that flair, which is just lovely to see. I mean, it's hard to compliment City, but it was a beautiful moment.
even Pep was like, when Cherky was 13 or 14 years old, he was the best player in that group. But then he didn't know how to work his entire body, and he didn't know how to put
Yeah.
that hard work in. But the flair remains, and for him to do that there, bro, listen. What a bloody goal. And I enjoyed that goal so much. And I kept watching the replays because, that's the beauty of football again, no Shiv, Rabonas, give me a
Mm,
little bit of elastico, give me a little bit of,
yeah.
the 360 and all that nonsense. We hardly see it. We
Yeah,
hardly
now
see
we're
it
just
right now.
talking about systems and formations and all these stupid interviews that are coming out. So the
Yeah,
football's
man.
gone.
Yeah. But yeah, man. But I think we should go on to our next topic, which is Manchester United. Um,
The roller
Obviously,
coaster that is
you
Manchester United.
you guys had Everton where you guys lost, and then you guys had West Ham where you guys drew, and you had Wolves yesterday where you
We had
guys
Palace also in
smashed
between,
them.
which was a good result. So,
Oh, you guys had Palace also in between, so you guys won that game. So, what are your thoughts, Shiv?
and it's just so frustrating in the sense that we play well in patches. You just can never give us full 90 minutes. Like, if we go back to the Everton game, like, it's on a plate for you, Royce. What are you doing, man? They're fighting with their own players and you can't get over the line. And you just look at the table, like you said, right? If we get 3 points against Everton, get 2 more points against West Ham, I think we are on 30 points, which is essentially 5 or 6 points behind Arsenal. I'm not saying we're going to be pushing for the title, but it just gives confidence throughout the squad, and we, it gives confidence for the manager also, right? But we just threw that game away against Everton, and we never looked like scoring, which was the sad part. They have 10 men. They were of course, well organized with the David Moyes team. You're going to get that, but just the flair, the chemistry going forward, make final decisions. The decisions in the final third were all really poor. Then Palace, like going into that game, I thought 100% Palace away. We lose this game every year. And of course, Palace were, of course, off the back of their Conference League or Europa League game, so they were a little tired, which you could see in the second half. But was happy to see Xerxes and Mount, players who've pretty much been on the bench for most of the season, get some good goals. And especially with Embuemo and Ahmad, who are going to leave for AFCON, we need this sort of depth to come through. But yeah, so that game was slightly better. I wouldn't say much better. We took advantage of Crystal Palace's tiredness and got over the line. Then again, West Ham, man. West Ham should be a gimme fixture. West Ham at home, like, we just again struggled. We created a few chances, but just struggling to put the ball in the net. And then we go up, and then he makes such like silly changes. Just like you were mentioning about Slot bringing on Endo, he Amorim has this fascination with bringing on central defenders. You know what I mean? He never goes for the kill. Like, go get the second goal, go get the third goal. We've gone down. It's gone. They've scored their equalizer. Guess who he brings on? Sandro Martinez, bro. What are you doing? What does it take for you to bring Kobe Manu onto the pitch? Like, what does he have to do? You know what I mean? I personally think there's some sort of agenda because it can't, like, if you have him as an attacking option on the bench, bring him on. You also had Shea Lacey, who's from the academy. And if you go back to Ferguson, like some of the mottos of United is youth, courage, success. He never brings on any of the academy graduates. Why not? We saw with Liverpool also that Nguemo, how do you say his name? Ngumua. I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name. But, bring these guys on, give them a chance. And if you give them a chance and okay, we might still draw, at least you gave them a shot. You're bringing on Lisandro Martinez. I mean, come on. He's not going to get you that winner. And then yesterday, of course, was a much better performance in the second half. Wolves, unfortunately, is probably the most dreadful team in years. They have 2 points. They hadn't scored since October, I think. Of course, we will give them their first goal. And at halftime, you're wondering, please, 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 not this team, bro. You can't manage to bottle it against Wolves. But much better second half performance against Mason Mount. Fantastic. I thought Embuemo, Ahmad were a bit selfish. Cunha was a bit selfish throughout the game, but Bruno, Mount, fantastic, and they pretty much got us over the line. Again, I can't read too much into this game. It's Wolves. I expect every team in the Premier League should be beating them. But job done. We'll see how we can move forward with Bournemouth at home again next week. Not an easy game.
And I think one of the main things about United in the last 5 games I watched is Mason Mount's resurgence. He's come back in. He scored a couple of goals. Scored a great goal yesterday. Also, he's just so happy. Like when I watched the Wolves
Yeah.
game yesterday, it just felt like he was back to his best. Not a complete 100%, but it feels like he's getting back to his best. Like, he's getting the ball a lot more. And very refreshing for United to have Mason Mount back. And like we also spoke about Mason Mount with Amarim, trusting him a lot more than some of
Yeah.
his strikers. So if he keeps himself fit, you kind of have a very, very good front line where you have Mount, you have Cunha, you have Bruno, you have Mbuemo, and it could work out really well, in the fag end of the
Espe-
season, considering that.
Especially now with AFCON, with Mbemo and Ahmad both
Exactly.
leaving, Mount has to stay
Mhm.
fit. And if he continues to play the way he's playing, because he does a good job defensively, he's like a menace. He presses really
Absolutely.
well. And yesterday, his distribution was also really good. He he's also that last midfielder who comes and makes that run, which is how we scored yesterday. So
Correct.
yeah, very important player for us. And with those two leaving, I see him getting a lot of minutes. Of course, with one game a week, it benefits him because he's still, as much as they say he's fully fit, but that injury concern is always there.
Correct.
Also, Sheshko is still not back. Cunha is not in prime form, unfortunately. So I see Mount getting a lot of minutes, and hopefully this run of form continues. Xerxes also is going to be really important. He's going to get a lot of minutes. Scored a lovely goal against Palace, but he also sort of drifts in and out of games. We just need more consistency. That Bruno level consistency, man. That man just racks up the numbers, bro. I don't know how he does it. Every game, like sometimes you feel like he's having a slightly off game. 2 goals, 1 assist. Like, it's just there. He just racks up numbers.
Special player, special player. I think yesterday he
Yeah,
just ran that midfield. I know it's Wolves, but he ran it. He ran it so beautifully. The pass to Bruno to Mount for that goal. What a pass. Mount
yeah,
also acknowledged him. And just like, overall, he's just there all over the pitch. And that's what you need from your captain, right? And he's
yeah,
been doing this for years now. He's arguably one of the best midfielders in the Premier League at the moment. So kudos to him. Also, I
yeah.
see that at the back. One thing we haven't spoken about in the last 10 weeks is your goalkeeper. So congratulations, Shiv. You've not been losing your head on your keeper at all. There's no,
Thank
oh,
God.
Nana, where you at? So, I was actually watching United play, and he looks to be very calm on the ball, and it doesn't look like you have a problem there at this moment, which is great.
Yeah, a lot more resolute at the back. I think, especially with him offering calmness, he also can play the ball off both feet. I think few defensive issues in terms of Euros, had a couple of bad games. He's not been at his best. But luckily, we have Lisandro coming back. Dillit has been injured for the past couple of games. Heaven didn't have the best game against West Ham, and unfortunately took him off during halftime, which I thought was a bit harsh. Like, at least let him play 15 more minutes. 60th minute, taking off someone that young at halftime can create a bad impression. But he almost played the full game yesterday. It was better yesterday against Wolves. Licha's come back at the right time. But yeah, defensively, I think we've been okay. It's just like during games for 15, 20 minutes, we seem to get lost. We become a bit complacent. We lose battles, lose the second ball quite often, which we need to work on. Just be a bit more focused throughout the game, and I think we can get over the line, especially against some of these smaller teams. So I mean, yeah, just like the general way the league has been going, there's inconsistency throughout most teams. So even same issue with us. We don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully, we can find a run of form. I say this every week, but they find a way to scam us. But yeah, any other team you want to talk about?
I think we can quickly just look at the table, Shiv, because you make a very interesting point that the table, after a very long time, has been very open. If you can just look at the table right now, we are Liverpool on 10th, United is 6th. If one victory there puts us right on to 5th there or 4th there, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it just feels like a very open table. Everton also doing phenomenally well. Look at that, 24 points. David Moyes was 12th place, last week, and then he
Hmm.
gets another victory, and then he goes on to the 7th place. So I just feel like the table is open, and somewhere down the
Palace.
line, I
Look at
feel like,
Palace, man.
bro, listen, Glasner has done a phenomenal job. But again, somewhere down the line, I feel like Liverpool and United kinda should have taken full opportunity of the fixtures they had
100%.
and should have at least won the three fixtures we spoke about. We should have won that, and we should have been top four there. We should have at least been fourth and fifth, because
Yeah, the
we
league
cannot be
keeps
drawing
giving us chances and we keep throwing it away.
eggs. Exactly. And this is the first time we both are actually talking in favor of each other, which is so beautiful, Shiv. This table. Do you still think Arsenal have it in them to go ahead, or you think they've bottled it somewhere?
No, I think it's still too early to say they bottle it. You can lose a game, and Villa again has been their bogey fixture for quite a for quite a few years. I think we'd give it a few weeks. If this leads to like a bad run of form, then you could say they've bottled it. But also City have, 3 wins on the bounce. They have hit some sort of resurgence. But no, not yet. Let's give Arsenal a few weeks. I trust them to bottle it, but I wouldn't say they've done it yet. But yeah, the other thing I want to mention, just look at from the fourth place to 12th place, there's a pretty much 4 point gap. This table is going to continue swinging in all different directions.
And if you just look at who Palace play City, Chelsea play Everton,
Yeah,
Liverpool play Brighton. So if Liverpool beat Brighton, for example, Liverpool go on. If Chelsea beat Everton, obviously Chelsea go up, but we come on top next to you. And if you guys beat Bournemouth, you guys are right, and you guys are right behind Chelsea. So
yeah,
the table's just so open, and you guys go ahead of Crystal Palace and Chelsea go on to fourth. So it just feels like the table is just open.
yeah,
It's very, very it's very important that we take our chances, because the table cannot be this open in the fag end of Feb or March, because in that way you'll just know who's going to be your top four, and your fifth and sixth place only you'll be like in there for contention. But this is a chance for teams like us, who are not
yeah.
Liverpool are out of form. So Liverpool, this is a great chance for Liverpool to at least try to get in a couple of wins just to be in the knocking of the Champions League
Hmm.
places. But dude, United need to go for
Yeah,
this.
get
I
our
think
act together
it's
because we have a favorable run of fixtures, which we had also, and we just didn't take
absolute.
advantage. But it's okay. We're still there and thereabouts, of course. Which I have an interesting question based on that. Is like you look at this league table. Do you think do you see this sort of closeness because the quality of the top teams has been lower, or do you generally think the sort of mid-table teams and the lower teams have gotten a lot better?
I think the mid-table teams have gotten a lot better. So it kind of feels like some of the teams, like say for example Chelsea, Liverpool, they're all in a place where their talisman haven't been performing. Like for example for
Yeah.
Chelsea, Cole Palmer hasn't even been playing,
He's
and
just
that
come back, right?
he's just come back now. And with Liverpool, you know what's happening with Liverpool. And if you look at Tottenham also a change in the helm there with Thomas Frank in there. There's a lot of changes with respect to say the top teams. But again, I think the way these guys have bought the guys in the middle, like for example Everton, Bournemouth, Palace, the way they've bought players, the way they've like set up their tactics, it's not easy to go and get a result every week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to be
On
like
it.
spot on it tactically, and you need your players to give you 100% to get a result. And that's the beauty of the Premier League. And there's no
Yeah.
other league coming close to the Premier League in the near future.
Yeah, and I guess that United Everton game was the perfect example of that. I mentioned it in my post game reaction also. So you can't take these teams for granted. Even if they have 10 man, you can't take them for granted. You still have to put the ball in the net, and you still have to do the job, which is the frustrating part, I guess, about United at least. Because in some games we are the better team, and like I remember the Arsenal game, we looked so good. Liverpool game also, of course, that could have gone both ways, but we can play well, but we just choose not to sometimes, which is the frustrating part. But I think that's a good Premier League roundup. I think we can briefly
Oof.
talk about the Ashes.
What are you talking about? Ashes. I only see one team there, so I don't know what you're talking about. You can call it Australia's Cup. You can just write that down there, please.
Yeah. But what about the spirit of cricket, man?
Spirit? What? Bro, listen, they have honestly their first test got over in two bloody days. Like, what are you tripping on? Like, what are they tripping on? What is going on?
Yeah, and
I don't understand this.
it's sheer immaturity and arrogance from the English team, man. I mean, and they have their chances in both games. They've had their chances. If you look at the first game, I think they had a lead
Lead
of
of
what 30, 40
37.
runs, 37
37.
runs, and then they come out and bat like that. They were what 70 for 2, and it becomes 70 for 6 or something, and just playing the most flamboyant drives and all getting nicked off in slips. I mean, Baz ball or fucking stupid ball. I don't know what you want to call it, but just, and even in the second game, Joe Root has scored a magnificent 100. They've got to about 330, 340. And then you see the difference in Australia. Stark and Boland, they just batted for time. They knew they want to bowl with that pink ball under the lights,
On the
batted for
lights.
time, and that pretty much won them the game.
Absolutely, man. I think just I just don't understand what the hell is Harry Brook doing there. Every ball you put in the eight stump line, he's just gonna go flick it, try to
Yeah,
flick it and hit a 6 or 4, and it's hedge and caught Steve Smith.
yeah.
Jamie Smith, he's been horrendous so far. He's not able to score runs.
Ollie
Uh,
Pope.
Ollie Pope has been, just an ordinary batsman according to Michael Vaughan. He
Yeah.
he called it so beautifully. Like he's just a batsman. There's nothing to talk about him, right?
Yeah, he's the
And then
most
you have
predictable player to commentate, he said.
give me a second. I'm sorry. Yeah. So with respect to Pope, again, most predictable player to comment about. I think we'll just go on to their bowling. Like, just look at the way Australians were bowling. Fourth
Yeah.
stump line, just kept it wicket to wicket, mixed it up a little bit, bouncer, good length. And then look at the way England were bowling. They just looked like they didn't have a plan of action. They
Yeah.
weren't prepared. It just
Just
looked like
bowl
they
too short also. They
bowled too short for no reason. Like,
Yeah.
if it just felt like I don't understand where Brendan McCullum came from after the Gabba test. He was like, it just felt like we prepared a little bit more. What the hell does he mean by that?
They didn't play a game with the pink ball in the run up to it. Like, how can you say you've prepared? Your bowlers have barely bowled with the ball. Your batsmen have not played under lights. You are completely unprepared. You're just arrogant. That's what baseball is. It's sheer arrogance. They think they've revolutionized the game. They have done nothing. Australia have worked harder. They have batted smartly, bowled smartly. I think Nasser Hussain said it. Out batted, out bowled, out thought, out fought. And that perfectly sums up the entire series so far.
And 1%, 101%. And I think it's time we talk about Stark. Is he?
Man.
Is he? Is he? Is
And
he? Is he
he is one of the
becoming
most
a goat?
clutch, no, one of the most clutch players, and going into a series where you're missing Hazelwood and Cummins, and he knew he had to lead this attack. He's led it with the ball, and he's hit 77 runs, such crucial runs in that innings. You know what I mean? I think he's taking 16 wickets in 2 test matches, or maybe more. I don't know what it is.
I think he's picked what? He's picked 18 wickets. So,
Yeah,
16 to 18 wickets. And, bro, listen, clutch. From from a
absolutely clutch.
from a clutch report point of view, he's our
Yeah.
clutch player of the day.
Yeah, 100%. No, just phenomenal. And now they're going to get Cummins back in the side. Their opening order is sort of Khwaja, of course, got injured. I don't think he was going to play anymore. Jake Weatherall has come into form. Travis Head is in good form. So this this is smelling like a 5-0 fuck off.
Oh! 5-0, fuck off, bro. Listen, I wake up every morning, during the Ashes, and I was like, okay, let's see what England have in store. They play well. For the first 1 hour, they're like, okay, fine, they're doing well. And then, boom, what sudden brain fade moments, I just don't understand, man. I just hope like there's some sense like how Ben Stokes and Ben Stokes and Will Jacks played.
Will Jacks, yeah.
Ben Stokes and Bill Jacks played where they played for 30 overs, which was wow. I was like, ooh, England players playing 3 and over for
Yeah,
30 overs was something very surprising for me. But if they just do that, it'll be nice. You're kind of spoiling the game, just kind of spoiling the heritage of Test cricket. And I'm just hoping that they get back into their senses, and
yeah,
just play Test cricket the way it's supposed to be played.
yeah. And what did you make of Smith and Archer? I mean,
Woo!
just those antics at the end of the game. And I thought Smith was right. I'm like, why have you come out with all this right now? You know what I mean? You should be bowling like this in the first innings. Bowl like this when it matters.
Exactly. Like it just felt like Archer after he scored some runs had nothing in his bank. Like, he was bowling
Yeah.
138, 137. And I look at Stark, after he scored 77 runs, he's coming back and he's bowling 141, 142. And that's the
Mm.
difference, right? Like, how
Yeah.
do you can't say much, but I think Smith just smacked him out of the park, huh?
Yeah.
I've never seen Smithy boy in a hurry to
Yeah.
score
That
those
that
runs.
that kind of anger, that kind of like aggression, I've not seen from Smith in a long time. You know what I mean? literally said, what are the words he said? That you only bowl like this. No, what did he say? Bowl like this when it matters, champion, or
Really
something like
matters.
that. Which
Yeah,
was,
yeah, I know.
I mean, it was great to see Smith, and he talked the talk and he walked the walk. So fair enough.
Yeah. And then he just felt like he looked like Shivraj Chandrapal, which made it even better.
But yeah, I think that series is only headed in one direction. I don't see England turning this around at all. It is the sheer arrogance of their boys. I think Stokes said it in his post conference and this in his post match, saying that we're not weak men, which kind of like felt like an attack towards his own boys, because it's clearly saying that there are some players who are weak men. But let's see how that series pans out.
And I want to speak to you about another thing, Shiv. Let's jump on to. There's only one person in my mind when it comes to Indian cricket. King K, sir. King
King
K,
Kohli, man, you can never brush him aside, can you?
brother. What were those innings, man? 200s in a
Yeah,
65, 64. Unbelievable, right? Just watching him
yeah,
play back in India because he lives in London now. And then the way he was playing, it just felt like, wow, we're seeing the
yeah.
king back in action. And I
And
can't
it's
wait
such a
for the.
joy to watch, man. That one no look six and all is hit. I'm
Oh!
like, oh, this this is what I'm here for, baby.
And I can't wait for 2027, man. If he's going to be playing like this, just
Yeah,
imagine in South Africa in those bouncy tracks, how he's going to be playing.
yeah, and a
It's going to be
nice little
exciting.
slap on Gambhir's face also, no? 3 times he got slapped.
Bro, you saw the last game when Gambhir came for a handshake. He just like shoved him away, like, "Ja say yaar." Also, we can talk about Gambhir's post-match comments about a certain IPL owner. He
Mm,
mentioned that, a certain IPL owner had commented something about his domain, and
yeah,
I don't enter your domain, so you don't get the right to enter my domain. Who
yeah,
the hell does this guy think he is, sir?
yeah. What was he doing in politics then, Gautam? What were you doing in politics? I remember once Gambhir was asked a question, Ronaldo or Messi, and he said, Rashford.
Ashford.
Yeah, if you want. I think Park Jindal's opinions are far more, they come with a far more, like, with far more weight than Gambhir. So I don't think Gambhir should be passing comments like this.
So no, I 100% agree. And I think Parth Chandler's opinion also made sense to me, Shiv. I think it's high
100%.
time we move into a system where we have different coaches for a test setup and different coaches for the white ball setup, because it clearly looks like our test setup is influenced heavily by the white ball setup, and that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah. No, and Gambhir
That's
is just a little bit of an egomaniac, right? He can't take any form of criticism. He'll give it like he gives
Mm,
everyone else. I've seen him talk about Shastri, about Kohli, about, a
exactly.
whole bunch of players, but he can't take any criticism, unfortunately. So he's very little, very thin skinned. So he feels the need to always defend himself. Very insecure little man. And like you said, yeah, our white ball setup is in danger. So I think Pat Chindal was right where he came from. At least it can be something that is at least considered.
Absolutely. I think, listen, losing 2-0 at home, uh, three series in India, and we lost two that were whitewashed in two. Just a
Yeah.
cause for concern for India there, and I just don't believe in Gambhir anymore because also his coaching staff also are very like egomaniacs where the batting coach came out and said, "Why you blaming Gambhir? Blame the players." You cannot do stuff like that, man. You're talking about cricket, which is a religion in India. You don't go blame the players, please. Like
Yeah.
you are there, you're doing a job. If it has not worked, it has not worked.
Yeah.
Move on. But we cannot be losing like this. And yeah, I think it's good to see King Kohli back. It's good to see Jaiswal get that 100 in that one day.
Yeah.
And on to T20s, which is happening today or tomorrow. We've got the swashbuckling Abhishek Sharma back.
Back. Yeah.
It's going to be exciting, man. And Surya Kumar also back. So it's going to be
Yeah.
exciting.
Would be a fun series. It's a good preview before the World Cup starts, I think, next month. Uh, yeah, I think that's pretty much been episode 17 of the Clutch Report. We've had a lot to catch up on. We'll see the next time around whether Salah has played his last game for Liverpool. Will he get some minutes against Brighton? Who knows? But that's been episode 17, and we shall catch you in the next one.